Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze the main tactical area of weakness that Mikel Arteta's Arsenal can exploit against Arne Slot's Liverpool side at Anfield this Sunday. So when we break it all down and we do look at the board first, we're going to focus on Liverpool and how they've set up this season. With Frimpong unavailable, Slot does have some questions as to who he should play at right back. We witnessed a midfielder play there against Newcastle and they were looking to target him on several occasions. Endo didn't really do a good job against Bournemouth in the second half, and they could turn to Joe Gomez as an option or Bradley to play in that right back role as well. Regardless, that does leave some options in that midfield zone as you expect Wirtz and Gravenberch to start, and that ultimately leaves a spot for Jones, Elliott, or Endo as well. The other option for Liverpool here is to shift to a 4-3-3, and perhaps that would help them combat the issues that we witnessed in the opening two games, as they wouldn't have four attacking players on the pitch and them being easily bypassed and overworking the central midfielders ahead of the back four. That would end up allowing the shuttlers to shift out in towards the wider areas to provide cover for Salah and Gakpo, and then still have two central midfielders occupying the center of the pitch. The other alternative for Liverpool here would be to drop Wirtz into a deeper role, or if they didn't want to do that, they could drop him entirely and then have Szoboszlai with Gravenberch and Jones in that midfield zone to keep things compact and really tough in those central areas. Nevertheless, if Liverpool don't go down that route and they end up playing in a 4-2-3-1, the two opponents that they have played this season have exploited their backline when playing 11v11 on a consistent basis, and they've done it in different manners. The first being the lack of Liverpool pressure from the front four, and the opponents being able to bypass space in behind Gakpo and Salah. It's allowed their fullbacks to push forward and create overloads, as they've been able to have 3v2s out in those areas with their number 8s or their midfielders pushing forward, and then their wide players also isolating the Liverpool fullbacks. So in these situations, the fullbacks have been key, and they've been playing dangerous crosses in towards the Liverpool penalty area, or simply combining with their teammates to get them behind the Liverpool backline. And in a lot of these situations, it's been Van Dijk who has been forced out to provide cover or make last-ditch clearances, or simply the execution in these zones just simply were poor, and they failed to maximize the threat that they pose by breaking in behind Liverpool's attacking wide players. Ultimately, it's the simplicity in how Liverpool were bypassed in these areas, as it's either the center back having free time on the ball or a deep-lying midfielder having enough time on the ball with no pressure applied to play the ball around Gakpo and Salah, and then that forces one of the midfielders to shift across to provide cover because Wirtz is caught higher up the pitch. There have been scenarios where one of those Liverpool midfield duo members were capable of coming across and doing a good job of breaking up play, and we did witness that specifically against Bournemouth. But in other aspects of how Liverpool were being breached in this manner, it's simply the ball being played around Salah and Gakpo, and then the fullbacks looking to run off of them to join the attack, and then Liverpool are outnumbered and overloaded in those zones. Whether it be Salah or Gakpo being caught too narrow, those avenues are always available for the opponent to break forward, and frankly, even in scenarios where it's 1v1 in those wider areas, you could see Gakpo and Salah doing a poor job of tracking fullbacks looking to join the attack, and that's created openings for opponents to get into dangerous positions in the final third to then create high quality chances around the Liverpool penalty area. And luckily for Liverpool in these various scenarios, the opponents have simply lacked the execution in those zones to punish the Liverpool backline. The second issue that Liverpool have encountered against opponents this season is in transition, where they simply push too many men higher up the pitch, and it's often the fullbacks joining the attack and getting caught in the final third, and without a natural holding midfielder ahead of the center backs, it's now created an avenue for teams to quickly win possession and then look to funnel balls out and towards the wider areas and space behind the fullbacks, or simply looking to run in numbers beyond the Liverpool midfielder who's caught higher up the pitch to then run at the Liverpool center backs in numbers. And we witnessed that in the build-up to Bournemouth's second goal, where you could witness Liverpool losing possession at the edge of their own box and then springing a 4v2 attack towards the Liverpool penalty area where they were able to equalize the game. Outside of that, any lost aerial duel or simply lost possession in that midfield zone has led to attacks breaking towards the Liverpool third, and it's simply often funneled out and towards the wider areas where you're seeing teams create 2v1s in those wider zones and getting in beyond the Liverpool fullback but simply lacking the execution, or simply getting into 1v1s against either fullback, winning that battle against them and then delivering dangerous balls in towards the penalty area, or simply getting into positions where they could play floating balls towards the back post or force Liverpool to make last-ditch defensive tackles or clearances to ensure that their backline isn't breached. So it's clear in these scenarios that Liverpool's fullbacks are being targeted. Even when they were up a man against Newcastle, the build-up to the opening goal witnesses a simple ball being stood up towards the back post, and it's Bruno G towering over Kirkes to help Newcastle get back into the game. The last issue that Liverpool have encountered, and it has been a worry for Arne Slot's side, is Konate, and teams have been looking to target him as well, and a lot of it just stems down to his erratic nature when he is looking to defend. There have been scenarios where he simply just has a poor touch and loses possession, and then from there, because Liverpool have their fullbacks high and no real natural holding midfielder, it creates an avenue for teams to break in transition. In many of these scenarios, despite Konate getting under a ball or simply having a poor touch, even with the opponents looking to break in towards Liverpool's third, while they do get themselves into good areas, they equally lack the execution to punish Liverpool. But it's an issue that they can't afford to have against Arsenal. And you witness this in the build-up to Newcastle's second goal, where it's a simple keeper punt over the top, and Konate is being backed up by a Newcastle defender, and he doesn't win the aerial challenge. He lets the ball bounce over him, and he also doesn't get any help from his teammate, who allows a Newcastle forward to run off him to help equalize the game in the dying minutes. So where you can see that there are several areas within this Liverpool side that Arsenal can exploit, you question how they'll do it, but we've witnessed Arsenal specifically attack in those wider areas. And although Saka and Martinelli have struggled in 1v1s, there's a good chance that we may see Madueke and Eze start in those wider roles. Even if it is Martinelli, the one thing that you can say about Saka and Martinelli this season is that while they have struggled in 1v1s for the majority of the season, they've done a very good job of including runners, more so their fullbacks, whether it be overlapping or underlapping runs, to help get their teammates into very dangerous positions where they could create high quality chances. More so, this was the key theme in the second game against Leeds, where Calafiori and Timber did a very good job of breaking in behind, and that did lead to some of the better chances that Arsenal were getting into within that game. You could look no further than the combination between Timber and Saka that helped Arsenal score their second goal, where it was a ball around the fullback for an underlapping run of Saka to help him get into a position to convert. What you can say about this Arsenal side is that they do like to play those quick combination plays. On the right hand side, you'll probably see Timber, Nwaneri, and Madueke playing through that zone because Odegaard and Saka are probably unavailable. Merino and Declan Rice have showcased that they can make those underlapping runs as well, and they can help ensure that Martinelli or Eze does have help. And Calafiori has also showcased that he can make those overlapping runs and the underlapping runs to help combine. So it's clear that Arsenal do have the personnel to harm Liverpool in these areas. They have the players to break in transition to punish Liverpool. And then now they have a natural center forward that could look to isolate Konate or at least create some pressure for him. And there's a good chance that whether it be him or Merino looking to break forward, if Merino does start, there are avenues where they could create chaos or put Konate in positions where he does make mistakes. And there are several areas where Arsenal can look to go to Anfield and exploit this Liverpool side based off the issues that Liverpool have displayed this season. So as you can see, although Liverpool have enjoyed a perfect start to their Premier League title defense, their opponents have consistently exploited the Reds' backline, which presents promise ahead of Arsenal's trip to Anfield.